It's the final game week. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. What's up everyone? Welcome back to another video. It is game week 38, the final game week of the season. Let's get into that usual team selection, captaincy and maybe a few differentials for you all ahead of the game week 38 deadline. Starting off as we always do, let's have a look back at my game week 37 team and transfers. It wasn't a good game week for me, but let's dive straight into it. My transfer out this week, as it was for many of you, was selling Diogo Jota. Now, it seems almost certain that he won't play again this season. He may get a slight appearance off the bench in game week 38 if he's lucky, but it seems almost impossible for him to get those minutes. In his place, I bought Rafinha of Leeds. Now, Rafinha and Leeds had two really nice fixtures to end the season, and I did have potentially a transfer in for Mason Greenwood, but there was a little bit of talk about whether he would start in game week 37. Now, Greenwood did start, but actually Rafinha outscored him by 1. So given the remaining fixture that Leeds have now at home in the final game week of the season, I am happy with the transfer that I made. In terms of what this meant for my team overall, we start off with a bit of disappointment in defence and in goal. Ederson returning just 2 points in that can only be described as calamitous performance against Brighton, with one save point moving him up from 1 to 2 despite conceding 3 goals, and Soufal with a 2 conceding an own goal or a goal from a corner against West Brom. It could have been a clean sheet for West Ham, but let's hope that in the final game week Soufal can return to some of the point scoring ways we have seen from him. Next up, we add my double leads that I have added to with Rafinha this week. So Rafinha getting me 3 points and Dallas getting 5 with a yellow card but a clean sheet. I was happy enough with this performance. However, not owning Patrick Bamford, who did get a goal and an assist, did hurt my rank a lot this week, so I may consider bringing him in to complete a Leeds triple up ahead of game week 38. Next up, we add double Liverpool, which again, like the Leeds double, was good but nothing special. Trent getting 6 points, 1 higher than Dallas with a 5, and Salah, my captain, returning 6 points. Happy with the Liverpool defender getting 6 in Trent. However, given the goal that came from Nat Phillips, it didn't do my rank very much good. And Salah, we all thought it would be a great game for him. Just 3 points with a clean sheet, double to 6. Not at all pleased with that. However, he was very highly captained, so I can't be too mad. Next up in my midfield, we add Smith Rowe, which I thought would be a good idea to start as he was away to Newcastle. Arsenal did score 3 goals all while he was on the pitch, but he didn't get a single attacking return. I still think it was a good decision to start him, but the returns weren't there. Next up, we add Son and Kane. Now, 2 blanks here in a very lackluster performance against Aston Villa. Not happy with these 2 at all. 1 game week left, and we'll see whether I keep both going into game week 38 or maybe I use one of my transfers. Now, you can look at my team so far and you can see, well, I have not done very well at all. I currently have 2 returns, one coming from Trent that didn't do anything for my rank, and one coming from Dallas, another very highly owned player. However, the 2 players left absolutely saved my game week, and this is Jesse Lingard and Antonio. They didn't just save my game week in any fashion, they saved it until the 89th minute where Lingard passed the ball through to Antonio, who finished it into the bottom left hand corner, and I celebrated it like a goal I'd never thought I'd ever celebrate a West Ham goal. Absolutely buzzing with that. It really improved my game week overall, my 2 highest scoring players coming in the very last minute. On my bench, the only real decision was that I decided to leave Iheanacho on my bench over Smith Rowe. So it was a decision out of these 2 about which I would play, and I went for the fixture for Smith Rowe. Now, Iheanacho didn't start the game against Chelsea, and he did come off the bench. Unfortunately, he did score a very sloppy goal from a Chelsea point of view, so that 6 points over Smith Rowe was 4 points lost. And given the state of my game week, it's 4 points I could have really done with. However, it did give me an overall score of 46, which was okay this game week, nothing too good and nothing too drastically bad. It did give me an overall score of 2,442 for the season and moving my game week rank to 3.6 million. It did give me a slight red arrow from 6.5k down to 7.5k. Now my target still remains the top 10k for the end of the season. I was nearly outside the top 10k until that West Ham goal went in, so I am so grateful for Lingard and Antonio for wrapping up that game. I am 10 points now inside the top 10k with 1 game week left. It's going to be a nervous final game week of the season, and it is impacting my transfer decisions a little bit, so let's get straight into those. Just 1 game week left, so my potential transfers for game week 38 are all 1 week punts, and there'll be players that I will not have for any more than just the final game week of the season. The first player that I'm considering transferring out is Iheanacho. Now, he did get benched in game week 37. I do expect him to return to the starting lineup in game week 38. However, it is a difficult matchup against Spurs, who both Leicester and Tottenham need a win in that final match. I do think the home crowd advantage could favour Leicester, and there's definitely potential returns for Iheanacho in this game week. However, as I've mentioned, I don't own Patrick Bamford, who is very highly owned and could do real damage to my rank if he does well in that final match. So Iheanacho is probably the forward out of the 3 I have in Kane, Antonio and Iheanacho that I would consider selling. The other player is in my midfield is Son. Now, Son and Tottenham have been far below par in recent game weeks. He does face off against Iheanacho, so it may sort of depend about where I expect this game to go and who I expect to win it. But Son has not been nearly at the level we've seen him in previous weeks. He looks very tired, ready for the end of the season, and it seems to be this Spurs side are just not scoring nearly as many goals as they used to. So in terms of the players that I could potentially replace these two with, let's dive into that. The first one we have, as I've spoken about, is Patrick Bamford of Leeds. A great fixture at home against West Brom. Leeds have not played at home in the Premier League for over 15 years, so I think there's real motivation for this Leeds team to get a good result, and Bamford is always at the forefront of the goals that they score. He is definitely a player that is highly transferred in this week by a lot of other managers, and I'm very scared to go into this game week without him, but I also think he's probably one of the best forwards to own this game week. In terms of my midfielder, if I do sell Son, it is likely to be Sadio Mane that comes into my team as a replacement for Son. Mane has been not nearly at his best this season, but I have had a pretty good love affair with Mane when I've owned him this season, a couple of times early in the season, and then on my free hit, he's done very well for me. He has a high ceiling, he can get goals and assists. With Jota out, he's likely to start and play the full 90 minutes, and Liverpool need a big result against Crystal Palace, who they beat 7-0 earlier in the season, and I think Mane is definitely in line to get some returns in this game. So just to summarise those two transfers, I plan on either doing Iheanacho out and Bamford in, and Son out and Mane in. I do think that a -4 of Iheanacho to Bamford and Son to Mane would probably pay off. However, I think it's too big a risk to take a -4 given how close we are to the end of the season, given how close I am to falling outside of the top 10k. I don't want to take that risk in order to do a -4. So I do think I will make just one transfer, and it will either be, as I said, Iheanacho to Bamford or Son to Sadio Mane. So with all that in mind, let's have a look at how my team could potentially line up for game week 38, the final game week of the season. So as we line up here, let's start off by having a look at my predicted transfers and which of those two right now I think I'll make. I haven't made the transfer, but this is where I currently stand and what I imagine I will do. This is selling Iheanacho and bringing in Patrick Bamford. Both Iheanacho and Son will be very highly owned, so it doesn't make much of a difference which I sell in order to make a shield transfer to stay in the top 10k. However, Bamford will have a much higher ownership than Mane does. Mane is a really good differential for this final game of the season, but it's not really a differential that I'm looking for. I think if you can look to get Mane into your team, along with the likes of Salah, Trent and Robertson, who are all also good picks, or even Firmino up front, having a Liverpool triple up is a great way to go this game week. However, I just don't think it's the right transfer for me, so I plan on doing Iheanacho out and Bamford in. This means that in goal, as always, I start with Ederson. Now, Pep has told us that Ederson will start the last 2 games, as he did in game week 37, so I think that he'll start in game week 38 at home to Everton. Everton have been very good away from home this season, however it is the final home game as Manchester City will lift the title, so I do expect some returns from Ederson in this game. In the defence we start with Soufal, who does have Southampton at home, who will be without Che Adams in game week 38. This means even with Danny Ings returning and probably starting in game week 38, I do think there's a good chance for a clean sheet as West Ham push to get that final result to secure a Europa League spot for next season. Next up, we add my double Liverpool. So as I said, sadly, I'm not giving it a triple Liverpool, which I think is a great option this week. Trent with Crystal Palace at home and Salah also with Crystal Palace at home. I think there's some really good returns from them both here, although they are such highly owned that the outcome of this match is going to do little for my rank, either if they do return or if they do blank. Next up, we add triple Leeds into my team, and this is a triple up I'm very excited at owning. Dallas, Rafinha and Bamford all at home to West Brom, playing in front of that Leeds crowd, which are known to be very lively, is definitely a place that I can see some returns for my team. They looked good in game week 37 against Southampton with a 2-0 win, and I expect them to continue this strong run of form and give the crowd something to remember in their final match of the season. Next up, we have double Tottenham. Now, I'm not really that thrilled by this double up. A lot of people will have looked to potentially move off the two. Going away to Leicester, we know that home fans will have a bit of an advantage in these fixtures. However, both Tottenham and Leicester need a result and need a win in this fixture in order to have a chance of qualifying for the respective European competitions. So I do think there's a good chance that there is goals in this game. And at the moment, because I'm selling Iheanacho, I hope they go the way of Tottenham. Finally, to complete my West Ham triple up, so I do have a Liverpool double up, Tottenham double up, a Leeds triple up and a West Ham triple up. So I'm focused very much on just 4 teams this game week. Soufal, Lingard and Antonio all at home to Southampton. Again, looking for a result, as I said with Soufal, in order to get into those European competition places. Let's hope that they can finish the season with a bang and get those fans a little bit of something to remember with some goals at home to Southampton. This does mean that on my bench I have Forster, Smith Rowe, Konsa and Saiz. There are no real benching headaches for me this week. Smith Rowe does have Brighton at home, but there's no one in my starting 11 I would even consider dropping to bring Smith Rowe in, given how he performed in game week 37. So this is how I line up and that is my bench. If there is some of that game week 38 rotation, Smith Rowe can definitely come in because it's a good enough fixture for him. In terms of my captaincy and vice captaincy, at the moment my vice captain is on Trent. I think there's a really good chance for a clean sheet potential in this match, and we know what Trent can do in terms of attacking threat with both goals and assists. But my captain for game week 38, for me, as I'm sure it is for a lot of you, is Mo Salah. Chasing the golden boot, need a win in order to qualify for the Champions League, a great home fixture against Crystal Palace. I don't think there's much more to be said, that I think Salah is by far the best captaincy option this game week. He will be very highly captained, as I'm sure a lot of you listening will be wanting to put your armband on Salah. If you do want a differential, one of the other Liverpool players like Mane, like Trent, I think are also good options, or some of those Leeds players. However, for me, it's on Salah and there's no chance it goes anywhere. So that's how I line up in game week 38. If you have any questions about your team, any transfers you want to make, any hits, any chips that you have left, drop them in the comments down below and I will make sure to answer them ahead of the game week 38 deadline. There will also be 2 live streams ahead of the game week 38 deadline, one coming on Saturday evening at about 5 PM UK time and one on Sunday morning at about midday before the game week 38 deadline. If you do have any questions as well, feel free to come and join in them as we discuss all my final transfers, all your questions and everything like that. I do just want to say a big thank you for all your support over the season, as this is the last game week of the season. I have really enjoyed making these videos, and if you have, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so that you're reminded to come back for the channel ahead of the game week 1 deadline and all the stuff that I have planned for the pre-season to get you all prepared for your best ever finish next season. If you have enjoyed anything that you've seen here, hit that subscribe button. But yeah, just a big thank you to you all for all your support throughout the season. The growth of the channel has been absolutely amazing and I appreciate it all so much. So good luck in game week 38 for the final time, and I will see you all next season.